European Union President Jean-Claude Juncker set the record straight on the firestorm over supposed comments reported in both the U.S. and European media that has commentators ablaze and roasting U.S. President Donald Trump in the media's brazen bull over a comment he never made. Consider this reporter's question and EU President Jean-Claude Juncker's statement, which sets the record straight.
Hello, it's Alvise Armelini with the German press agency. I wanted to ask you whether it is true that in your conversations yesterday with President Trump, he told you that Germans are bad, very bad, because they sell too many cars in the US. And if this is true, did you chastise him? What did you reply to this? Thank you.
I don't want to comment, but I have to comment on this because we had a meeting with President Trump, which was a very friendly, constructive meeting. It's not true that the president took an aggressive approach when it came to the German trade surplus. I do really think, and for once it's true, that this is a real translation system. If someone is saying the Germans are bad, that doesn't mean that this can be translated literally. Hat nicht gesagt, die Deutschen benehmen sich schlecht. Hat gesagt, wir haben ein Problem, wie andere auch, mit dem deutschen Überschuss. So he was not aggressive at all. And anyway.
When EU President Jean-Claude Juncker continues his response, it becomes obvious that he is giving President Donald Trump a lesson in EU trade. Because what was accurate is that President Trump believed he could negotiate trade deals with each individual nation in the European Union, which cannot be done if they are EU members. Consider President Juncker's lesson to President Trump.
Without taking the defense of the Germans, I was making clear that the US cannot compare their trade situation with individual member states of the European Union. They have to compare their performances with the global performances of the European Union, and I made it clear that the Commission is in charge of dealing with trade issues and not the member states.
Before anyone bashes President Trump on not knowing that detail, let's put the blame where the blame should go. How about the U.S. media for providing very little EU coverage and erroneously reporting that the EU is going to fall apart? German trade is conducted through the EU, as is now every nation in the European Union. This sounds like a big development to me, and it happened decades ago. Not one of President Trump's advisors corrected him on this fact. The U.S. looks pretty ignorant, both its media and its government advisors. Concerning the nation state or member countries, they were a geopolitical trend in the 1800s and 1900s. About 135 of the 196 countries formed in the 1900s alone. Simultaneously, after World War I, we saw the formation of the League of Nations in 1920 that failed, which was the first fork in the road, and was a first because it was a first attempt at an international organization. After World War II, the road split off from the nation state with the formation of the European Coal and Steel Community, the UN, World Bank, IMF, and the GATT, which morphed into the WTO, or World Trade Organization. In 1957, the European Coal and Steel Community signed a new treaty with more members, structure, and areas of coordination, and it became the European Economic Community, which, as it evolved, continued to grow in all of the above areas, including admitting more member nations, and renamed itself with the enforcement of the Maastricht Treaty in 1993, the European Union. No one paid attention then. They paid it little attention during its evolution, if no attention at all, except to say that it was going to fall apart. Fast forward, and now here we are in a multipolar world or age of empires. The economy and world is so interconnected, problems are now global in nature, and the fork in the road turned into a highway, and the nation state is about to get kicked to the curb. American dominance is coming to its end, and the European Union is going to be the leading world power. You heard it here on Prophecy Talk.